Good morning and welcome to the 8:15 daily operations weather brief. This morning, looking out the window here, we can see some high clouds, and those can be seen moving northward along the coast with some lower clouds visible further to the south, down south of our area, and they look to remain confined that way for the time being. Morning temperatures remain moderate with current readings around the 60s, and that's due to some persistent onshore flow and also in a pretty stark comparison to the cooler overnight temperatures being seen further inland, in which they were down in the 40s. Now, today will begin mostly sunny and transition to mostly cloudy by the afternoon as we begin to see a surface trough offshore start moving its way closer inland. And for today, breezy conditions will continue similar to yesterday. As a result, we will likely see a wind advisory later this afternoon, and moving through the day we can also expect some possible light showers moving into the area, especially later in the afternoon and continuing through the overnight hours. Now, looking at our most recent surface analysis chart here from this morning, we can see a strong region of high pressure, approximately 1029 millibar, is centered across the upper northeast and extends southwestward into the mid-Atlantic interior. And that is all while a surface trough continues to organize along a stationary front just offshore of the coast here. And as a result, breezy conditions today, as mentioned earlier, are expected to persist with northeasterly winds expected to gust above those wind advisory criteria. And then as we move through the day, that offshore front begins slowly drifting our way, acting more like a warm front, and this will bring some increased cloud coverage and will elevate those rain chances in the form of some scattered showers and or drizzle. And with this frontal evolution, we'll also see mainly cloudy skies start to build in as that moisture continues to push further inland. Now, Wednesday looks to remain cool and mostly cloudy with a chance of light showers or drizzle along the coast, especially as a weak low-pressure system begins to form offshore. And conditions then look to improve as we move into Thursday as coastal troughing and a weak surface low begin to move away from our local area, and we'll see some partly sunny skies and diminishing winds start moving their way and becoming the dominant features in our area. Now, for our current weather conditions being observed out there, we have a scattered layer at 25,000 feet and unrestricted visibility. Our winds are more so out of the north at about 9 knots, and our current temperature is at 60 degrees with a relative humidity of 83%. As mentioned earlier, we can see those high clouds moving over our area, and the thicker cloud cover and more dominant cloud coverage in the form of low clouds are much further south. We can see them kind of creeping into the area or onto the peninsula right now, but in general they do remain further south. In that way offshore, we can see some of those scattered showers beginning to get underway as they slowly drift this way, and we'll see that activity reaching our area later tonight and into the overnight hours and into the early morning hours of tomorrow. Now, this is a high-resolution model on a 24-hour loop, and we can see here those early morning showers right now, and then in the afternoon we see that wave, if you will, and the shield of precipitation just slowly build into our area and overspread our neck of the woods with some light rain and at times a couple blips of yellow, so maybe we see a bit stronger downpours if we're ever so unlucky, but it looks to be largely scattered light precip for a majority of the day and into tomorrow before we clear out early as we move into the early hours of tomorrow. Taking a look at our 24-hour risk chart here, we can anticipate mostly clear skies now, turning partly cloudy and then mostly cloudy before we see those overcast skies move fully in, and we see those rain chances progressively increase as we move into the overnight into early morning hours. in which we'll see our highest rain chances. Now, as for our winds, they do look to remain elevated for a majority of the working day today, with the highest winds anticipated to reach here shortly after noon, if not just before, and slowly dying off as we get into the past midnight hours. We'll start to see those winds kind of diminish a little bit, but pick up just ever so slightly once we get into tomorrow afternoon, but should remain just below wind advisory for tomorrow. And then for our ceilings, we do have a little bit of color on the board for the overnight hours. There's a chance that those ceilings drop below 500 feet, especially as we get in between 4 and 8 o'clock tomorrow morning and the period just thereafter. Other than that, we'll see some light precip moving in this afternoon and moving out early tomorrow morning. For our 24-hour risk chart, Wednesday we can anticipate cloudy skies and slightly breezy conditions with a chance of showers that may be accompanied with those reduced ceilings as mentioned earlier, and as a result we might also see those visibilities bottom out a little bit, and a high of 74 degrees. And then Wednesday night, mostly cloudy conditions and again slightly breezy with a slim chance of a shower lingering from that warm front, and as a result those lowered cloud bases hanging around too. And then a low of 64. And on Thursday we can anticipate an improvement across the board with no real weather related concerns, and partly to mostly cloudy conditions and a high of 76 anticipated. That is going to conclude the 8:15 daily weather operations brief, and I'll be back at 10 o'clock with the 7-day outlook. Hope everyone has a great